What's up, rockers? It's Billie Wigington here down at the Vault, Fort Worth, Texas. So if you're watching this, you probably just got your first drum set. I'm going to be teaching you how to set it up, what all the components of the drums are, how to hold your drumsticks, and finally how to groove. So let's get started. Okay, before we get started with the drum set, we need to know what the main job of the drummer is. Okay, so your job as a drummer, say you want to play in a band, or you want to join the school band, or you have a friend who just plays guitar. If you're going to be playing drums with other musicians, your main goal is going to be to keep steady time. Okay, so that means playing with a consistent tempo. Now you may say, I don't know what tempo is. I never heard that word before. Tempo is just the speed of the song. So you could be playing rock, you could be playing metal, you could be playing reggae, you could be playing funk, jazz, Latin, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're playing, that music has a speed. Okay, so if you're playing a metal song and it's really fast, you want to play with that consistent fast speed the whole time. And if you're playing a song that's very slow and mellow, like you want to play nice and slow the whole time. So playing steady is key. All right, when you're the drummer in the band, you're the metronome. If you don't know what a metronome is, it's a little box. It's got a ticker. It goes beep, 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 beep at a speed. Okay, you can set the speed fast or slow, just like what I was saying. You're kind of the clock. All right, so your job is timing. All right, so first things first, when you get your drum set, your drums are comprised of drums and cymbals. All right, so I'm playing on a 4-piece kit with hi-hat, crash, and ride. And then I'm also playing with the 4 drums. I have the snare drum, rack tom, floor tom, and the bass drum. All right, so the drum set that you have at home that you just got, it may have more cymbals, it may have less cymbals, it may have more drums, it may have less drums. One thing I'm going to talk about is your throne height. Okay, so when you're sitting at the drums, your throne, you don't want to be sitting too low and you don't want to be sitting way up too high. You want to sit at a point where your knees are bending to roughly a 90-degree angle or more. Okay, you want to be sitting up straight. You want to have good proper posture, roll your shoulders back. Sit at the drums with your arms shoulder length apart. You want to make sure that your snare drum is a little bit above your knees. I'd say about the line of your belt. So make sure your snare is not too low, make sure your snare is not too high. When you're setting up the drums and the cymbals for your kit that you just got, you want to make sure that you can reach everything from where you're sitting. All right, so if you just got your first drum set at home, it may look a little bit different than this. It may look very similar, but we're going to go over all the components. So first things first, I've got my snare drum right here. All right, so the snare drum, that's the sound that you're going to kind of hear in all the marching band stuff, right? Next, I've got the rack tom. All right, the rack tom is very boomy. I got a floor tom, which is just a bigger tom that's called the floor tom because it rests on the floor. Right, and then I've got the bass drum, the lowest sound you're gonna make. Right, that's the deepest. Cool, so those are your drums. All right, and then we're gonna go to the cymbals. Again, you may have more cymbals. Again, you may have more toms. You may have 2 floor toms. You might have 3 toms. You might have 2 snare drums. You might have 2 bass drums. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have any toms and you only have a bass drum and a snare. That's okay too. Whatever you have, just work with it. All right, so next we're gonna get to the cymbals. So the cymbals, we got the hi-hat, we got the crash, and we got the ride. All right, so there's other kinds of cymbals you might find out there. Splash cymbal, China cymbal. There's a lot of different stuff. You could have more than one crash. You get the idea. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go over drumsticks. So maybe you just went down to your local drum store and you were gonna get some drumsticks and they had a bunch of options, you didn't know what to get. If you don't know what to get, just get some 5A drumsticks. 5A is the standard size, okay? There's a lot of options. You can get nylon tip or wood tip or any kind of different sizes and thicknesses of drumsticks. If you don't know what to get, just get some 5As. So we're going to be gripping the drumstick from about less than halfway down the drumstick. You're going to be grabbing it with the first knuckle of your index finger and your thumb. Okay, this is the fulcrum. This is the point at which the stick can freely move forwards and backwards. All right, so when you're holding your drumsticks, make sure to get that fulcrum first. This is where your grip is coming from when you're playing. All your control of the stick is really coming from here, and then you're adding the rest of your fingers, gripping it firmly to your palm, and making sure you got a good grip on it, okay? You don't want to be dropping your sticks every song, but you also don't want to be like iron fisting your sticks. That could be bad in the future. So make sure you got a good fulcrum, the first knuckle of your index finger and your thumb. Wrap the rest of your fingers around the stick. All right, so when you're holding your sticks, you can hold it two different ways. We got matched grip, where you're holding the stick exactly the same in both hands. And then there's traditional grip, okay, where I'm holding the stick between two of my fingers, bracing it with my thumb. This is called traditional grip. This is commonly found in jazz music, and a lot of classical musicians use this grip. We're gonna be playing rock and roll, so we're gonna be using matched grip, all right? We're playing Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. All those guys play like this. We're sitting in our throne with shoulder width apart. Now we're gonna tilt the sticks inward. Okay, notice I'm keeping my palms down towards the floor. I'm resting my stick roughly 1 to 2 inches off the drum head. So when you're sitting here and you have your sticks tilted in towards the center of the drum with everything going, this is the proper position to sit at the drum set. When you go to strike the drum, all your motion is going to be coming from your wrist. So you want to focus on winding up your wrist like a catapult and slamming it down like a fly swatter, okay? Again, when I hit the drum, my resting position is 1 to 2 inches off the drum head. So don't bury that stick into the drum head. You want to hit it, and it should be back to the resting position. Okay, so winding up from your wrist and following through. Isolate your arm, okay? You don't want to be putting your shoulder into it. You don't want to be putting all of your elbow into it. Focus on your wrist, okay? Most of your motion is going to be coming from your wrist. When you get really into playing, sure, you start seeing people really putting their arms into it. But for now, focus on your wrist, okay? This is where the majority of your motion is coming from. All right, so we're going to be going over the single stroke roll from chapter 1 of lesson book 1 for the vault. The single stroke roll is right, left, right, left. Okay, we're playing 4 evenly spaced notes. We want to make sure to count 1, 2, 3, 4 out loud while we play. Okay, so focus on your wrist motion. We're starting with our right hand. Make sure you're properly winding up that wrist, striking the drum. Now, as you're striking the drum, your left hand should be coming up, so watch. And when you strike your left hand, your right hand should be coming up. So focus on counting 1, 2, 3, 4 while playing even strokes on the snare drum. All right, so we're gonna get to the quarter note beat next. I'm gonna teach you how to play your first drum beat on the drums. This is gonna be your most important beat, all right? Everything starts from here, everything builds from here, so buckle up. So when you're playing your quarter note beat, we're gonna be playing 4 quarter notes. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. But now, if you're looking at the sheet music from the printout, which I'm gonna have attached to the video, we have, up top, we have these X's going across the page. So the X's on the top of the page, these are the hi-hat. Okay, these are the hi-hat hits. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, those are 4 quarter notes, just like on your single stroke roll. So we're gonna be playing those 4 hi-hat hits with our right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now towards the bottom, you can see these quarter notes that are on the bottom. These are the bass drum hits. All right, so the bass drum, that's your lowest notes. That's why it's on the bottom of the staff. So the bass drum hits are on beat 1 and 3. So if we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, you're only going to be playing the bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4. So the snare drum is on beats 2 and 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so to think of this beat in 2 separate motions. So you've got your bass drum and your hi-hat, you're playing them at the same time. Your right arm and your right foot. So that's beat 1. Okay, now beat 2 is going to be your right arm and your left arm. So both hands together. Think of both hands going exactly at the same time. Say 2. All right, so you got 1 and 2. 1. Just repeat these same motions for beat 3 and 4. Okay, so when you're practicing this quarter note beat, you want to make sure that you're practicing with a metronome. I've got mine set to 90. I'm going to go ahead. Make sure you're counting out loud. Okay, counting out loud while you play this, crucial. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you got your drum set, you know how to set it up, you know how to sit at the kit, you know how to hold your sticks, you know how to strike a drum. We learned a single stroke roll and a quarter note beat. I want you to go ahead and take that beat and play it with as many songs as you can. Focus on locking in those quarter notes with the same groove of the song, okay? Play it as much as you can, focus on that timing, make sure to count out loud, and we'll just go from there. So I hope you learned something this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you like what you saw, stick around. There's definitely going to be some more. And if anyone needs lessons or recordings or anything, vault's open.